Hello and thank you for joining us on Journalist Hangout on Sunday. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, outrage over continuous killings by bandits in Katsina State as Governor Masari defends call for self-defense. DPP recommends Chidinma Ojukwu for trial over murder of Super TV CEO Sufo Ataga. Others released for 4 others, and later on the show, doctors' exodus hit Nigeria as many medical experts trooped to Saudi recruitment center in Abuja. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Mayor Akipelu. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. Let's begin on this sad note by paying tribute to Nigeria's legendary musician, Sir Victor Wefer, of the Jeremy fame, who died on Saturday. We joined the family and Nigerian music industry in mourning Sir Wefer, who was the first musician and instrumentalist to be given a national honor, member of the Order of Niger, MON, in 1983. Jide Jolomi, Sir Victor Wefer.
It's a fact of life that at some point we will all go to join our maker.
Ripe age of 80.
And when you look at someone like Victor Wefer, you always ask yourself that, one day we are going to lose a man like this, a man of peerless talent like him, a man who recorded so many firsts. The day something happened that would make me never to forget him, and it was on the day when P-Man celebrated 20 years at the Ladikwali Hall in Abuja. On that day, my evening newspaper, PM News, won some awards on the day. And the musicians, the young musicians, were playing tunes made by Wefer and the other legendary musicians. So the person playing the guitar to his song, Joromi, could not achieve clean notes. He was wearing an agbada. They were meant to be honored, and he was sitting in the crowd. He just got up, climbed that stage, and took the guitar from the guy, and he gave us pristine, clear, perfect notes. No struggle. He just played exactly the way he played it in the album. And
Guitar boy.
Come and see standing ovation. That after many years, he still had it. So, and he was an intellectual, someone that many artists look forward to in terms of his brilliance. It was also a fantastic interview material any day. If you interview, you see the depth of his not just intellect but wisdom. So, I wish him a happy time in God's bosom.
For Nigeria,
very, very great musician, a man of sartorial elegance. Apart from being very successful as a musician, he was also very successful as a businessman. He was one of those early musicians that were very, very comfortable. He was also a man of culture, and he was once a commissioner in Edo State. So now we are losing those who, the greats, Bobby Benson, Victor Olaiya, now Wefer. They don't come like that anymore. They don't come like that anymore. These were people these were the highlight greats. And I learned that he was one of the favorite musicians of IBB. So I know that a lot of people really feel sad that we've lost him.
Okay. I forgot to add that he actually trained Sonny Okosun.
Yes, he did.
Great Sonny.
He was one of his band boys.
All right, moving on now. The Nigerian Army is strengthening its relationship with Proforce, the first and only indigenous armored equipment manufacturing company in Nigeria, as part of the efforts. The General Officer Commanding GOC of 81 Division, Major General Lawrence Fejuku, visited the company's facility in Uderemo. Let's share the story with you.
Officer Commanding 81 Division, Major General Lawrence Fejoku, arrived in Proforce Limited, Nigeria's leading armoring and defense products provider. He and his men are here on a facility tour of the 40,000 square meter armoring facility in Ode-Remo, Ogun State. Down to the business of the day, the Proforce team led by the Chief Executive Officer, Adeogudeyin, presents latest improvements on its mine-resistant, ambush-protected vehicles, armored civilian vehicles, and intelligence gathering equipment.
Proforce Land Systems is actually broken up into 4 divisions. We have our IACVs, improvised armored combat vehicles, where we have our armored Hiluxes. We also have our armored Buffaloes, which have been supplied to the Nigerian Air Force. We have our civilian market, which is where we do armored vehicles for the private sector. This can range from G-Wagons, which you'll see one downstairs today. You can see Land Cruisers, Prados, any vehicle that's brought to us with a certain engine capacity able to be armored here at Proforce. And this is what we've been able to supply.
Delighted and impressed with what he has heard, it was time to see for himself how these world-class armored vehicles and ballistic helmets and vests are manufactured. The GOC is optimistic that with the state of the expansion and transformation in infrastructure, equipment and general facilities at Proforce Limited, the company will soon be able to provide more than the basic needs of the military.
It's impressive. A lot is going on here that I will not necessarily want to divulge to the public, but may not to support our operations and give us the desired results. Already the Nigerian Army is partnering with Proforce. It's just to continue to expand on our demand depending on what they can produce and offer to us.
We believe that as we continue to grow, the relationship continues to grow, the issue of Boko Haram will be brought to an end very, very soon, sooner than you expect. Only Africans will solve the problems of Africa. We can't go and call people from Europe and solve it. We understand what the problems in Africa is, and we are solving the problem.
Since 2008, Proforce has developed a large portfolio of products for the police, military and civilian market. It is also expanding its reach and capacity in Nigeria's fight against insurgency and improving its services to countries like Rwanda, Ghana, Somalia, Chad, South Sudan, Niger Republic and Central African Republic.
Julie, I'm worried that it took several months down the line that we exposed this company called Proforce, that 81 division, the GOC 81 division is just going. I expected the Nigerian Army should have tapped into whatever they are doing in Proforce. The Nigerian police, all their APC, they would have tapped into it by now, that we can do this thing locally, and there's a company that does it locally.
The Army is already now working with Proforce. I understand that the Army even has some stake in the company currently. What we want to see is for Nigeria to take full advantage of the presence of a company like this. Remember, this man used to work abroad and came to his country to set up this company because he knows that, look, if he does something like this, at least he will be able to give jobs to people in our country. It will boost our GDP. Some of the equipment that we are going abroad, wasting precious forex on, they can be produced here. We've seen that in the past, we even imported some armored equipment from China and the rest of them, that because of problem of spares and all that, they packed up quickly. But since we have Proforce, we should use them a lot more. We should patronize them more than our own neighbors. Look at Chad, for example. Chad told them to produce 20
EPC.
No, the mine-resistant vehicle, MRAP for them. The new president of Chad has now told them to produce 90 more.
90 more.
They are due to deliver the 20. They have almost finished. It takes just 4 months to build each of those MRAPs. So, because of the thick armor that they have to put on, what they use is largely, we have ballistic stuff in our country. So what they use is largely here. So why not do more, patronize Nigerian products a lot more? If Rwanda can come all the way to buy MRAP from Proforce, then we should be doing a lot more, patronize them a lot more. I can tell you now that our neighbors are even patronizing them more than we are patronizing them.
A lot of Nigerians don't even know about Proforce.
Yes.
Till we did that.
Because it's a security company. What they do, but a lot of people, I know a lot of individuals who have done business with them in terms of private doing armor for their vehicles. But I agree that the Nigerian military should, now they have a working relationship with them. I think they should patronize them more. And I think the police too seems to need them more. You know, because part of the
APCs are dead.
Yes, part of the problem with our police is that we do not have superior firepower sometimes when they confront people. That's why we need to draft soldiers to a lot of hotspots. But if you have these armored vehicles as support for our police, I think they will be able to do more than what they are doing now. So I agree that the company needs to be
bulletproof.
Yes, the company needs to be supported.
And they make bulletproof vests, bulletproof helmets and the rest of them. So there's a lot. If you go around, you see that a lot of the APCs of the police, they are grounded. If you do your check, they are grounded. The APCs used to give us hope, even when we feel threatened going to an area. But a lot of them are grounded because of the issue of spears. You know, now these people produce APCs. You see a lot of APCs. They even produce drones. Yeah. So you need, since you have a Nigerian company that can produce those things, why don't you patronize them? And you solve the problem of spare parts, for example.
Now, moving on now, let me take you to Taraba State. Now, residents of Gashaka local government area of Taraba State are locking horns with the chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, in the states over comments that Governor Darius Ishaku has not implemented meaningful projects in the area. They described the statement as untrue, saying Governor Ishaku should be commended for his developmental strides in the states. Let's share the story filed by TVC correspondent Owolabi Adenusi with you.
The word of the chairman of Taraba State All Progressives Congress has uninterrupted water supply through a project implemented by the Ishaku administration. This is contrary to the claims he has made that the governor has not made any meaningful impact on the lives of the citizens. Residents of the community, on the other hand, affirmed that the Ishaku government has made interventions through youth empowerment, infrastructural, and education developments.
We thank the governor for his work and our councillor because we are having lack of water, and at the same time now I came over, I see boys and girls who are fetching water through the borehole, through the work of the governor.
The government statement, I will confirm with you today that he's saying the truth. When he came on board, he put down different types of deficiencies, projects within the 11 wards of Balaka government. Balaka government, we are opportunity to have 11 wards. And the project is, we have, let me categorize it, we have physical projects and human projects. Among the physical projects, we have a skill acquisition center which have been constructed within the Bell local government metropolitan.
He gave all he knows about security to see that we are peaceful. He has done a lot for us. And on many occasions, in fact, even the day before yesterday, the elders called the chairman were asking, why is it that the governor is not yet honored with a title here? Because nobody has done what he has done to us. And when people complain somewhere, we say we don't have anything to complain about. If you look at our road, we are one area that we have a very difficult terrain, but he has been able to come and do all these projects. He has gone to the remotest part of this our land.
We were in primary school, far back 70s. My father told me that they have bewitched this our road from Maraba to Abo, the Tar Road will never pass this road. That people in the night, in the spiritual world, have bewitched this road. Federal government, state government can never give this contract. Thank God you have seen yourself. They have laid contract from Maraba, they are coming up with it. How can we in Kumi forget DDI? Not only this one. See this befitting edifice. Kurmi is 24 years old. We don't have government lodge. See what is behind me? I have 10 wards in Kurmi local government. Thank God you have gone around the wards. In every ward, in every village, we have borehole. That's what we call master water. In every ward, in every village, we have borehole. You've seen them yourself. In every ward, in every village, he has renovated all our primary schools. You see, in all our primary schools, DDI. These are done by him. Not only that, in all our clinics.
The APC chieftain recently accused Governor Darius Ishaku of not implementing any project across the state.
Challenging the Taraba state government to call on all the pressmen, and if they do not do that, we are going to do it. We are going to sponsor journalists to go around Taraba State, in all the 168 wards of Taraba State, to see what PDP government claimed to have done.
The governor, however, warned him not to play politics with developmental projects.
His village, they had done a job there and they were actually building a primary health center. He does not know. Why? Because they are Abuja politicians.
As the 2023 general elections draws nearer, politicians have gone back to the drawing board, strategizing ahead of the poll. The opposition All Progressives Congress in Taraba is leaving no stone unturned to take over from the ruling People's Democratic Party. The leadership of PDP in the state has challenged APC to come out with issue-based discussions and are confident, believing that with Governor Ishaku's performance, the party will retain its mandate at the 2023 general election.
You know, pure politics of 2023,
yes.
Succession, brickbat between PDP and APC in Taraba.
Yes, and APC appears much more determined this time around to take the state, and you would not be surprised if they fail to give the governor credit for anything. You can imagine if you say the governor has not worked and the traditional ruler of the area is pointing at things that the governor has done. We saw the VP inaugurating water projects. We saw the people talking about water projects and even taking journalists there. So before he took the initiative to take journalists around, the governor responded to his challenge and told journalists to simply go to those areas and see what he has done. I've seen, because I travel around our country a lot, I've seen governors that people told me, no, they've not done anything. I've seen some of the work that they have done, because people think that development is simply what is going on in the urban centers.
Okay.
But if you do so much work in the rural areas, you are limiting rural-urban migration. You are developing those areas, giving people opportunity to stay there and even create jobs within those areas. So many people criticize government and say they are not working because they did not see so much work in the urban centers.
I don't see any big deal in what has happened. It is what should happen. If you are an opposition party, it's your duty is to want to
account,
and you cannot be seen to be giving credit. If you do that, it's for you operating at an higher plane.
Now we can see some of the projects.
But we know that, yes, we know that the government, we can see the projects. But the chairman of APC is saying that he has not seen anything. That is what is expected of him, because he's already preparing grounds for the 2023 campaign. And that is how opposition parties is played.
All right, on a lighter mood, it's certainly not the best of time for supporters of Arsenal FC of London. The third straight defeat in the new league season is generating various reactions from the fans. While some are calling for manager Mikel Arteta's head, others are staying true with the club in this trying moment. Let's share some of the reactions with you.
Mikel Arteta, you are the source of our problem. Arteta, you are the source of our problem. Mikel Arteta, you are the source of our problem. You are the source of our problem. Every power that is keeping Mikel Arteta in Arsenal, what are you waiting for? Die, 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 die! I want you to demonstrate your power, oh Lord. Every force that is keeping Mikel Arteta in Arsenal, what are you waiting for? Die! Mikel, go, go, go in the name of the Father, go in the name of the Son, go in the name of the Holy Ghost. Even Kulu Allah said we will sing for you. Go!
It's not funny. It's not a time to, when you look at what's happening, 3 matches, no goal.
I think that this is a terrible time to be an Arsenal supporter. I saw a video on social media. I hope we won't have to play it. Arsenal fans were singing against their club and singing that, look, every match we get beaten.
Yes, that we lose every week.
We lose every week.
So this
they
is
were
nothing.
singing. And in fact, some of them jubilated after Man City scored the 5th goal. Their own supporters. Arsenal supporters are simply giving up that, look, this man, Mikel Arteta, has nothing to offer. He should be shown the door. It's in line with the spirit of these times. People like Arsene Wenger, people like Ferguson, they got time. They got time. Ferguson didn't win anything for quite some time. But the moment he started winning, he continued to win and became the most decorated coach in the history of British football, and even became a knight of the British Empire. The only coach of his generation to be so knighted.
I believe that Arteta should go. I think the job is too big for him.
Why do you think the club is still keeping him?
I think the job is too big for him. The problem with Arsenal now is that these people, the present management has turned Arsenal to a mid-table team. And if care is not taken, Arsenal will go like other clubs. Nottingham Forest used to be European champions. Now they are in League One. When you don't manage a club where that's what you get. One, there's the owner who doesn't care about the club. He sees Arsenal, he's not a fan. He sees Arsenal as a business venture. We have a management, because the former MD was involved in some under-table deals, so he had to resign. The people that are running Arsenal now do not have experience. The technical director, Edu, does not know the job. For example, they gave Willian a 3-year contract on 240,000 a week. Willian is leaving Arsenal now. He pitied them and decided to cancel his own contract. How can you give a 30-something-year-old player 3 years contract and you pay 240,000 per week for that person? You understand? Arsenal is not. The problem with Arsenal now is that if you change Arteta, Arsenal has a good squad. If you remember Lampard, when Lampard was handling Chelsea, they had the same issues. Abramovich does not take prisoners. He sacked him, brought in Tuchel, and now they became European champion with the same squad. So the problem with Arsenal is that this guy had to go. It is shameful. He has broken all records in Arsenal. This is the first time. This is the worst start for Arsenal in the Arsenal history. First time they will go 3 matches and they will lose the 3 matches and concede 9 goals. That is not, Arsenal is not just, Arsenal is an iconic club. And Edu, both technical director and Ateta should leave.
Okay, let's now move to Nigeria. Let's move to Katsina State now. There's growing outrage over continuous killings and abductions by bandits in Katsina State, northwestern Nigeria. The state governor, Aminu Bello Masari, is desperate for a reprieve. Hence, his call on people of the state to acquire weapons and defend themselves against the bandits. While the call has attracted widespread criticism, Governor Masari defended his stance by saying inadequate security personnel to tackle the menace is one of the reasons. Judy? Yes, out of frustration. This is born out of frustration. Yes. We've been following in the last 2-3 years, we've been following the move of Governor Masari trying to, at a point in time, trying to give amnesty to these bandits. At a point in time, you know, but everything has failed. And there's no advantage for that northwest state called Katsina, in spite of the fact that that's where Mr. President is from. Bandits are ravaging like 10 local governments in this particular state.
Yes, no governor of all the 7 governors of the northwest geopolitical zone has made efforts to end banditry like Aminu Bello Masari. At a point when he came up with the amnesty initiative, it worked. And these boys stopped kidnapping people. There was peace. I'm a witness to it. I went there. But when the states around him, the contiguous states around his state, failed to implement amnesty, we then had a situation in which some of the greedy bandits were coming into his state from Zamfara and other places. You understand? And some of the people who had been given amnesty to, because they could not operate in Zamfara, I mean in Katsina, because measures were put in place to ensure that if you tried to do cattle rustling or anything, you were going to be picked up by even your own fellow bandits. So that was in place. Some of them moved to Zamfara. Invariably, bandits from Zamfara, because Katsina shares many boundaries with Zamfara, they were now coming in. As I've said before, the bandits in the northwest and even north central, they stay in boundary communities. So that it's convenient for them to move. If you are attacking them from this community, they move into another state. That is what they do. They don't stay permanently in one place. So all of their camps are located in those boundary communities to other states so that they can easily move. Look at Dogo Gide, for example, operating in Niger. But from Niger, it can move into Kaduna. From Kaduna, it can move into Katsina.
The routes.
Yes, because those forests link one another. So this is the thing. Because others didn't implement amnesty in their states, his own amnesty program became imperiled. I once asked him, I said, why did you come up with amnesty? These guys are not likely to honor their word. He said, because they had done everything possible. They have spent billions on the armed forces. They pay allowances to the armed forces. They buy equipment for them. They buy vehicles and all that. At the end of the day, they were not getting results. And he said he could not watch people die. That was why he thought, okay, what are their demands? And then he went to negotiate with them. Some of their men who were in detention, they called for their release because they accused the police of even illegal detention of some of their men. They called for their release. The governor facilitated release of some of those people. Then we had respite for some time. Some of us could travel to the place, even to some distant places. But things have changed now. They are back. And when the governor said 10 states, it's actually 12 states that you know that banditry is happening. But The 10 states that they talked about are states, 10 local government that the governor talked about are local government where it happens every day.
Local governments?
Yes.
Local governments.
Yes, he said 10 local government every day. There will be one report of attack or another, but it's not as if it is only those local government alone
that they are operating.
Yes, they are operating.
But this one's duly, they must
every day.
attack.
There will be one report of attack.
Now, Mayor, the governor is looking at the hopelessness of the situation, because when you have a village and the bandits will attack the village for like 10 hours, have a field day, burn everything and everything. So the governor is not looking. Instead of you to be looking, you to devise a means.
I understand the frustration of the governor. I understand that. But I do not agree with him. Why I don't agree with him is that we cannot ask the people to resort to self-help. The primary duty of government is protection of lives and property.
But the government has failed to do that.
Protection of lives and property. What makes government is that people willingly surrender their sovereignty to the state. And it is the duty of the state to protect them. You understand? Before government, people were defending themselves. When you are in your farm, you defend your farm. When you want to go and do hunting, you defend your hunting. Then people sat down and said, okay, let us surrender our sovereignty to the state. So the state will now protect us. When the governor asks everybody to go and buy firearms, one, where did he expect them to buy the firearms from? Two, is it not more dangerous for everybody to have firearms, which they could make use of, they could put it to use into other things? It is a very dangerous development. I can understand this frustration. When you have tried everything and nothing seems to work, and some criminals, bandits will come and kill people on a daily basis. Yes, I can understand that frustration. But when you tell people to go and get guns and defend themselves, it is not the duty of people to get guns to defend themselves.
Okay, we have the opportunity to ask the governor now. Joining us live is from Katsina via Zoom. Is for more insight on this is the governor of Katsina State, Aminu Bello Masari. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Governor.
Thank you very much.
Now, Mayor Akikbelu is saying that, look, he doesn't agree with your tactics, that telling your people to look for a way to defend themselves, that means the responsibility of government to protect life and property, the purpose would have been defeated if you are asking people to arm to defend themselves.
Yes, I think let us start from the date we came in. That was 2015, what we met on ground, and the efforts we have made to have a relative peace for about 2 years. And what came after 2 years, because like you rightly said, the efforts we made were not made, especially in Zamfara at that time, and all the leaders of our amnesty and negotiation were killed from Zamfara and from other neighboring states. So why did I say what I said? And I have no regret with what I have said. And I've listened to the gentleman who is saying that, yes, but what is the natural instinct of every living thing? To protect and defend himself against adversaries around him for him to survive. Now, let me give you a simple scenario. Katsina State by 2006 had a population of 5.6 billion. Even if we are growing at 3%, what will be the population in 2021 now? We are projecting a population of 78 million. Now, what is the total strength of the police in Katsina? The total strength of the police in Katsina is not more than, it's not up to 3,000. So if you divide by the number of population, you have an average of one policeman to over 200,000 people.
That's a joke.
And what form of ammunition do they have? A local government that has 34 policemen and has over 300 villages and towns. Tell me, how can 34 policemen police that area? They lack logistics in terms of equipment to move around. They lack all the necessary weapons. And above all, they lack the technology. So if you look at the military, how many are there in Katsina? The military are in all the states of the Federation. They have been suppressed so thin. And what is their equipment and technical capability in terms of reaching to the nook and crannies of the villages? What is the level of technology they are applying? Look, you see, when you are faced with reality, people who sit somewhere, they are not faced with the reality of daily killing, daily kidnapping, daily raping, and daily cattle rustling, can say anything. We here in Katsina, we wake up every day. What we are saying, working with the police, there is need, and we are working on it to train people to defend their villages and communities. We can't simply fold our arms and meekly look. If the bandits are allowed to sack one village, they move to another village, they follow them to another village. Their host and them will move to how long will it continue? While knowing fully well, how long will it take the police to develop the capacity in terms of numbers, in terms of equipment, to be able to provide the needed, much needed security in every village and community? And in between the gap, are you saying that people should fold their arms? As you sit there, if somebody comes to slap you, your natural instinct is to raise your hand and protect your face. If he comes with a stick, you take a stick to protect yourself. And given the chance, you will also use a stick on him. So what are we saying? We know the numbers, we know the capabilities, we know the equipment they have. Look, it's only being fair to the security agencies at the moment that people should not meekly sit and wait while they can do something. That's what I mean.
Your Excellency.
And I stand by my words.
Your Excellency, sir, I've seen efforts in Katsina and even in Zamfara to develop some form of resistance through the vigilance teams. Is it not better to form vigilance teams in this frontline local governments, give them the training that they deserve, arm them, instead of simply saying everyone should go ahead and defend themselves?
Last week we completed training of 500 trained vigilantes. They were trained by members of the police and the armed forces. And within the next another week we will take 500. Our target is to have 3,000 trained vigilantes working with the police and the other security agencies. But when you secure a village, you then train the people in the village as volunteers to protect and defend themselves. The situation we have on ground, somebody will come to a village, a bandit, kidnap, collect over 500,000 from villagers. Or in some cases, if he hit a target of what they might get up to 5 million. And the same community, when you say, okay, come, let us contribute and train these people to defend this village, especially in the night, against attacks, he will not give you 20,000. He will say, no, I have no money. But when he's, look, are you telling people to continue with this attitude, with this habit? I say no. And this training, like you rightly said, we have already done 500. We are going to continue with another 500. Our target is to have 3,000 that will support the military, the police, in order securing and policing our villages and communities. We will not fold our arms again.
Now, the vigilantes that are called Insecurity in some parts of the Northwest, they are known to have even aggravated some of these conflicts, forcing some governors to even disband the Insecurity. Don't you think these vigilantes that you are setting up could eventually get sucked in and even aggravate some of these conflicts?
I think that's why we are being systematic. One, every vigilante we are employing, we have his history, where he comes from. If he is armed, we know what he is armed. We know the police station and the division he is attached to. It's not that we are going, and this time around, these people will continue to keep them. We will have exit strategy for them, and we will maintain them so that they don't fall into the hands of Ansaka. We don't support them.
Your Excellency, I want to look at it from this point of view. You ask your citizens to harm themselves so that they'll be able to protect themselves because of the challenges. But don't you think that some people, by having access to guns, one, those guns, because in Nigeria, for you to have access to guns, you have to be licensed. And then when you now have access to those guns, can some people use those guns to do bad things themselves?
My friend, a criminal is a criminal, with gun or with no gun. A good man is a good man with gun or no gun. Are you telling me now, if you own a gun, you will turn into criminality? All the guns they are going to own are going to be supported by the police and are known. It's not about that we are talking out of common sense. No, we know what we are talking about. We know what we are galvanizing our people through the traditional rulers, through the religious leaders, to do the needful. To do the needful. And I do believe our approach will not aggravate problem. Criminals are criminals. So it's not only about owning firearms that makes someone a criminal. If you are saying owning firearms makes all of us a criminals, I don't know how. I don't think you can count the number of criminals we have in Nigeria.
Right, Honorable.
So, yes.
I want to ask you those areas that we've been talking about, because we reported earlier that sometimes as many as 10 local governments in Katsina State are troubled by these bandits. I want you to tell us the trouble spots in Katsina State.
You know, the most notorious of the trouble stones are 8 local governments. But there are adjoining local governments, besides Jibia, Masari, Safana, Musa, Kankara, Faskari, Sabwa, Dandume. They have adjournment with the forest areas. Then within neighbors, we have Matas that is constantly under attack. We have Dutz that is also constantly under attack. We have also Musawa that is also under attack. And the supports of many local governments inside that are under attack from one time or the other. Even yesterday, they were in Bakoli. Bakoli is not bordering the forest, but they are neighbors to the local government that border the forest. They came in and kidnapped 5 people. So we have Danger, which is not neighboring that particular Lugu forest, but is nearer to some small forests bordering us with Kano State. They are also there, also kidnapping and killing and raping women. So the reality is that the core local governments are the local governments that are bordering the forest areas. But there are pockets of attacks in other local governments that mostly are adjacent to those local governments that are bordering the forest area.
Let us talk about state police, Your Excellency. Many people believe that state police will ultimately help us solve this problem. Where do you stand?
I have already made my position very clear. Are we not directly or indirectly having a state police who is oiling the movement of the current police force that is in our states? The state governments. So what we are talking about is let us have police that are properly trained and armed, that are called state police, and let us look at the constitution and see how we can accommodate that without weakening the federal government.
Like the frequent farmers header frictions that we normally have in Katsina State, we're told that you want to embrace ranching right now.
We have already some, if you follow the papers, you will have seen our adverts. We had a program that will cost us about 12.5 billion, out of which the federal government is giving 6.50%, while the state government will fund 50%. Now we have made adverts. We have gone to the State House of Assembly for supplementary budget on the money that was given by the federal government. We have made adverts, and we are going to go into making provisions for herders to remain in the places that they were living before. Some of the places we are trying to rehabilitate have existed since the First Republic, up to the time of in the 70s. Yes. I think the advent of oil and over-dependent on oil money made us to jettison agriculture and livestock. And we saw encroachment, population exploding, also create another encroachment on the roads and the grazing areas. And now with the climate change also added another dimension to it. But what we are trying to do now is to make sure that we rehabilitate all the 30 acid dams, rebuild them completely. Those will become not temporary dams, but permanent dams that will provide water for cattle, animals, and some small irrigation schemes. Alongside, we also create, since we have the land, some grazing areas where the collection of all herders living in that area will have opportunity to graze their animals there without roaming about, without going into other people's homes. You know, when we were growing up, we had all these community grazing areas. In my village, we had one where you take your goats, sheep, and small ruminants to go without going to other people's farms.
So this is like discouraging open grazing. This is like, this move is to discourage open grazing.
No, I think it's not to discourage, we should stop it.
To stop it?
Stop it. What the problem is, the herders coming all the way from Mali to Niger. I had an experience of that in 1983. The herders coming from Mali, Niger, and other African countries, those are the ones that brought violence to our local Fulanis that we were living together before. And immediately the culture of violence settled within the Fulani communities, and from matches and cutlasses, it moved to guns now, as we're witnessing. Now they have become no longer cattle wrestling, they are bandits, they are insurgents, they are criminals with sophisticated weapons, and they should not be spared. There is no reason to spare anybody. I don't think I have faith in anybody living in that forest. Anybody I see in that forest, for me, until proven otherwise, is criminal.
Now, these forests are so extensive. How do we defend them? How do we protect forests?
Use the technology. The world has moved. Nigeria has to move with the world. With technology, we can be able to monitor and control what happens in the forest.
Let us also go back to the issue of traditional means of producing livestock. You are the son of a milk seller. How do you convince the average nomadic Fulani man that, look, open grazing is not fashionable anymore, that they could even produce a lot more if they were localized in an area like ranching will allow us to witness? How do you go to the grassroots? How do you convince them, since they've been used to this type, this way of life?
You know, what we have started, this issue of ranches we are trying to develop in Katsina State. We had a state stakeholders meeting, of which I participated with the leaders of the farmers and leaders of the Arados and Fulanis, district heads and village heads, the imams. Now, I have also approved that they will go to each of these 10 local governments that are bordered on the forest in particular, do a sensitization stakeholders, meaning the role of community and the role of government and what is expected in terms of sensitization. Once we start and they start to see the benefit, because even if they want to roam about now, the cattle rules are gone. And once they enter somebody's farm, there's going to be a problem. So it is not in their interest to even start going into other people's farm. And alongside, we are reintroducing cattle tax so that we know how many cattle are there in the state. As I'm talking to you now, you're asking me how many heads of cattle do we have in Katsina? I don't know. Why? Because recording has been abandoned since in the 70s. So the benefit of this census of cattle is not only for the revenue, but for the fact to know what you have so that you can plan. I'm telling you now, the current Fulani, the good ones are among them, are desirous of these extension services, and I'm sure they will key into the extension service.
Let me take you back to the vigilante groups that are being recruited and trained. Are they going to be based in towns and villages, or they are going to operate on local government basis?
First of all, you know, now, as I'm talking to now, we are conducting operations in Jibia and Masari local governments using the trained vigilantes. When we secure all the areas, what we intend to have is a village committee vigilante. You know, we have amended the Local Government Act, law here in Katsina, that provides for village security system, ward security system, and district health security system, forming committees of critical people in each community, plus the community police officer available in that community, to form a village community security council. And they will feed the ward, and from the ward they will feed the local government and the district head. The district head will now feed the local government and feed also the Emirate Council. So through that, we will restore certain authority and dignity of the and sustain and maintain these small villages in each and every community in providing security through this arrangement. And by the side, working with the judiciary, we have also developed alternative resolution centers. These small conflicts don't have to go to court, but will be resolved there. I think all these put together will bring sanity into our community and bring life to what it used to be as much as possible.
How are you dealing with internally displaced persons in Katsina? Because with these constant attacks, IDPs will definitely increase in number. How are you handling the matter of displaced persons?
You know, we have a state emergency, we have Ministry for Social Welfare, and together we are reaching the people in the village. We are reaching the people in the village or in the local government. So the idea is we'll reach you in your village, support you, give you food and financial support in your village center. That will become something else. What we will not do, anybody who wants to bring support to our displaced people should come through recognized authorities. We don't want these people who use pictures of innocent people to collect money from outside Nigeria, either to collect money from religious organizations or from well-to-do here in Nigeria, we will not allow that. We are in full and firm control of whatever in the locality, so that we don't want a situation where a problem is created that is bigger than the problem they meet on ground.
So finally, let me ask you, Your Excellency, now what do you think is responsible for banditry all of a sudden in Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna, Niger State? We're experiencing something that is unprecedented. All of a sudden, even the Zamfara state governor was saying that he has over 30,000 bandits in Zamfara state alone. What do you think is responsible for this menace?
Is going off. Can you hear me now?
Yes. We can hear you.
You see, it has a very long history. I started telling you that how cattle rustling started from Mali and gradually came into Nigeria. You can check the records. Now, it came into Nigeria as a result of the oil boom that we had in the early 70s. The issue of those living in the forest were virtually neglected. And we saw massive population explosion in the forest, though they lack Islamic and Western education. That what our experience has shown in the forest area. Now, in order to overcome that, you have to reclaim the areas under your jurisdiction and do the needful what is. But largely what is responsible, first, this from outside Nigeria into Nigeria with different cultures and different attitudes. Then we saw the fall of Gaddafi, the political turbulence in Mali, in Chad, in Libya, in so many other North African and some West African countries. So the massive inflow of arms and ammunition. And alongside it, we saw the inflow of hardened drugs, illicit drinks, and many things that came and influenced the locality that have no Islamic or Western education. And we saw the activities of miners in Zamfara who came with all sorts of things. The objective is to get mineral resources and go with it. The consequences, they don't care. And like you rightly said, the mother of all the banditry here in the Northwest really is Zamfara. They have larger forests. Most of the leaders, they are hibernating there. They are originally from there. And some of them also from Katsina, I must admit. But the reality is, we can say it was a neglect of over 40 years that it developed on what we are having today. It's not the fault of the previous government. No, it has been a neglect that we saw it traits since in the 70s up what we are reaping now, what we are dealing with. That's why it is important that we deal with this in order to postpone. Because if we conquer the situation now without addressing the problem, maybe after 10, 15 years, there may be a spring back. So I'm not hoping for that, but certainly I think this is some of the contributing factors that brought us to where we are today.
Katsina State, thank you for your time. Thank you for that insight.
Thank you very much
for your frankness. Right Honorable Bello Aminu Masari, the governor of Katsina State. Babajide, vintage Masari.
Yes,
because there's this, the first one that I want to ask you, there's this erroneous impression that it's only the southern governors that are pushing for the abolition of open grazing. Honorable Masari did not miss word here.
Yes, he said it should be banned, that it has to stop. that even the grazing routes are no longer there. So
this is the second governor I'm seeing now.
If you get into people's farms, that's if you are not counting Otom as a northern governor. Because Otom is a northern governor and he does not approve. Yes.
Ganduje is very neatly.
Ganduje is supposed to it, and he has taken steps. He has taken steps in Falgore and Danso Shia where we can resettle the Fulani headsmen. And I went there, I saw them. They are having fun. They are enjoying the place. They are enjoying the place. They spoke on camera that, look, we don't need to go all the way to the south. There's water here. Our women are here. They are building schools for them. They build schools for them. They will bring in veterinary doctors for them. Everything. Then the police post, they are building the police post. So even the cattle rustling that they suffer from while they are migrating from one place to another, it will not happen because they are in a place that is secure, that has constant electricity, constant water, then the pasture will be fine. So why do you need to go? We saw Kwamwan's farm. Look at his cattle, see how healthy they were looking. They don't have to leave that place, they get fed. Even the cattle will be happy. You see, this is Kwamwan's farm. Yes. You can see. They are providing all that they need to eat.
Stationary.
You know? So that is the thing. It is not true that every northerner or every governor from the north opposes this. I remember that we interviewed people like Dr. Salem Momale, one of the best Fulani, knowledgeable in these matters. And he said, look, that is the way to go now. If you remember, we interviewed Salem Omali. He said this is the way to go now. They just need to sensitize the traditional people that, look, we can't continue like this. And the president also needs to be sensitized. Because the president appears to be obsessed with
that's the key. Because the federal government is still announcing grazing rules.
Yes, so more and more people need to be sensitized that, look, grazing routes not the solution anymore. Look at what this governor said. He said the grazing routes are no longer, people have built houses on them, and if you encroach on people's farms, they will fight you.
What was the population of Nigeria in 1963?
That is the thing. We need to let our people know. I saw Kano State, even artificial insemination, which will help them to produce more cattle. They are doing it. For the Fulani
I think ultimately
pastoralists.
We will agree on this thing when we discuss back and forth.
Yeah, but I think the governors should use their position to be able to convince the president and vis-a-vis the federal government that obsession with grazing rules cannot work. This is the governor of the home state of the president saying that those rules are no longer there. But federal government is still saying they want to establish grazing rules. And that is a part of the problem.
Even the Land Use Act vests responsibility for land in any state on the governor.
On the governor. So I'm sure that the government is still
go to court.
It's still backing on a program that cannot work. That is not there. That somebody in Abuja is so obsessed with grazing rules. I don't understand
how
that
will
work.
Ultimately, that he will be convinced in the fullness of time that, look, this can't work. This is not the first time we are seeing the president pursue a course of action, and then invariably he will change his mind. The president, for example, didn't want to sack his service chiefs, despite the fact that they were declining in performance. But ultimately, he had to take that decision. You know, he had to take that decision. So, in this case too, I believe that reason will prevail in the final analysis. That way, we will not put the cattle in harm's way. We will not put the nomad in harm's way. We will not put communities in harm's way.
All right, we'll take this break. When we come back, we'll discuss more. It's still Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We'll be right back after this time out. Please don't go away. Thank you for staying with us. This is Journalist Hangout on Sunday, and the beauty of the program on Sunday is that it's for 120 minutes. That's 2 hours. So we give you double for everything you want. And I still have the maestro in the house, Babajide Kolade Otoju. I still have him in the house, and Mayor Akipelu. Mayor, thank you for staying with us. Now, if justice delayed is justice denied, then the trial of Chidinma Ojukwu over the murder of CEO of Super TV, Usifo Ataga, should be accelerated. The Lagos State Director of Public Prosecution, DPP, Olayinka Adeyemi, has recommended Chidinma and others for trial over the murder of Ataga. The DPP, however, cleared 4 others of the murder. Jide, update on this. Nigerians are calling for justice. They're asking for justice, and we're looking at complications. We're looking at the girl changing her statement. We're looking at who are the culprits. If she did it alone, if she has collaborators, have they unmasked those collaborators? We're looking at the trial proper.
Yes, and the Lagos State Police Command is in the eye of the storm. I think this is an opportunity for the police commissioner to show that when it comes to the excellence of prosecution, that Lagos is the state that others can and should emulate. Because when we started hearing stories about the girl changing her story and all that, claiming that she did not do it, she was on an errand when it happened, many people were taken aback that a girl who spoke calmly while speaking to journalists did not look like somebody who was forced to say the things that she said. You know, then how come the story changed when another set of TV, electronic, some broadcaster, another set of broadcasters went to her to get her to talk about the murder. So it's something. This is a murder case that Nigerians won't forget in a hurry, and they are waiting for the state, the state police command to crack this case successfully. When the culprits get jailed, get convicted for what they have done, many Nigerians will be happy, because we've had so many unsolved murders in our country. But this is different because at least arrests were made. And we can see, it's not like, oh, the killing or the murder of so many politicians that you won't even see anybody arrested. In this case, arrests were made. Therefore, we should be able to get to the root of the matter. And it is in the hands of the police. It is the quality of prosecution, the quality of investigation that the police has done that will enable the judiciary to convict. If we do not provide enough evidence, even the people arrested will walk away free. That's a scenario that Nigerians don't want to. They don't want to hear about that. Yes, they want they want justice on this matter.
Let me start by saying that I'm happy that the DPP has recommended that Chidinma should be tried. I think the police have not done very well in this case, because they started well by making an arrest, but developments after that, maybe either by act of omission or commission, they've allowed people to have doubts as to the sincerity or otherwise of the Lagos State Police Force. The reason being that after Chidinma was arrested and paraded, she was allowed to grant an interview to a crime file program where somebody that was arrested for murder was allowed to make up and look like a model.
Yes.
And not only that, she now changed her story and started saying things. And that is why the family of Usifo have been criticizing the Lagos State Police Force that they have not done things. But I believe that it could be a genuine mistake. But the way she's being treated seems to look as if she's being indulged, which shouldn't be the case, because Osifo deserves justice. Yes. That's one. Two, developments within the time that the lady was paraded, and now a lot of conspiracy theories have emerged. A lot of there seems to be a deliberate attempt by some people to push some narratives in the media concerning, to complicate things, to try to drag in his ex-wife. Because you see, there was a story that the day he was killed, there was supposed to be a surprise party for him in Abuja, but Osifo and the wife have been separated for 4 years before that. The wife is a top person in the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. You understand? So those who are pushing those narratives seems to have an agenda. Secondly, you are going to, when you look at the nature, when you look at what was released by members of the family before the burial, prove that Chidinma could not have acted alone. Yes. Because they said there was multiple stabs on his body. There was evidence that there was evidence that he was tied. Yes. There was evidence that he was tortured. You understand?
I was gagged.
So it's not possible, because this is somebody that was a trained boxer.
Yes.
So
you can't
the drugs that he took, the drugs, because during the time that they stayed in that apartment, it was confirmed that some people brought drugs to supply to them. And if you know, on the island, MSK, schools, Colorado, skunk, all those things are supplied people that are people's, as far as big business on the island.
I was told it's online that you can ask online.
It's big business on the island, they deliver it. So it is possible that because of those drugs, he was incapacitated and it was easier to overpower him. But I believe that the lady could not have acted alone.
No.
So it is important that the Nigerian police, so that they will not be accused of not being sincere in this matter, should make sure that it is officers of the DPP's office that should handle the prosecution.
You know Nigeria is like
before they said that the way his hands were tied, it was so tight that
the mark was
perforated his arm. The rope itself dug a hole. That's to show you how extremely tight they could have done. There's no way that this girl could have overpowered a man to that point, and then, you know, and the thing is, when news breaks, initially you will not have enough facts. But with every passing day, we are getting more facts from the family. For example, the moment they saw the corpse, they were able to...
And I don't think the police have been getting the cooperation of the girl lately, as in terms of...
Nobody knows.
Because within the time she was paraded, and now some people have reached the lady and have tried to tell her not to stick to the original story.
Yes.
That was the problem.
It's also possible that the people working with her were the ones who were coaching her what to say, even what she said the first time.
Yes.
She could... I don't want to say anything that would jeopardize the matter, but I think it is clear that this girl could not have done this alone.
I have Wale from Ikorodu. Thank you for joining us, Wale.
So, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, Wale. Happy Sunday.
Okay, same to you. My encyclopedia Matata.
I agree to you, sir.
It's well with you.
Amen.
Please, there are three things that are trending now that Nigeria must be very, very, very careful. One is the case of this lady you are just talking about now. The international community, we want to know the conclusion. We as the seniors in our alma mater, we are also pursuing it. We want to see it to the final conclusion. Secondly, is the case, although we are not discussing it, is the case of Abakiri. Nigeria must be very, very careful the way that investigation is concluded. Then lastly, please, please, anybody that is close to the president and commander-in-chief is the only one on his own queue now. Everybody has left as far as open grazing is concerned. Thank you. God bless you.
Go on.
Yeah, those three things yes, they are trending things. But I think the president, I think that yes, reason will prevail, and I think the president will see reason with the other people why open grazing is not working. The Abakari case is still, the reports have been submitted, so we're waiting for the IG and the Police Service Commission. There are some stories flowing around, but I don't think it's good for us to talk about those rumors. So it has not been the content of that has not been done. Yes, we cannot do that. Though it has been submitted, but the stories flying around, I don't think it's right for us. But the Chidinma, well, I agree with him that yes, it's a trending story. People are watching how it will happen. Like I said, it's important for the police not to boggle the story, because it is the investigation submitted by the police that will be the basis for the prosecution. So the Nigerian, that's why, because my friend, the Commissioner of Police Lagos State, is somebody that I trust, and I want to tell him that it's important that he look at this case and make sure that mistakes are not made when it comes to this case, because public perception is very important. Perception is everything. He should not allow people to think that the Nigerian police have an interest in that case, and they didn't do a good job.
Because some people are already saying it, that Lagos police is compromised.
Yes.
People will say all kinds of things.
Said that.
Yes, people will say all kinds of things.
Yes.
But Akim Odumosu knows that his image is at stake.
Yeah.
The image of the police as a whole is at stake. And to give himself immortality, he has to handle this case with the best wisdom that God has given him, and ensure that the police do an excellent job, that Nigerians will see and say, yes, this is a police that we can be proud of any day, because this is a matter that many Nigerians are interested in.
Okay. I have Barrister Inebe Effiong joining us, that very lawyer. Barrister, want to get the legal perspective of this, what next? And I think as the DPP have submitted the report, I think the case should go on, and they should have a watertight prosecution. Not yet.
Yes, okay. Talking about the police, the Tango one that I know, I'm sure would do a thorough job. Even if mistakes were made, now that the DPP have asked the case to go on, that there is a prima facie case to start prosecution, I know that the Commissioner of Police, Akim Odumosu, will do the needful. Because everything, like I said, rests on the investigation of the police. If they boggle that...
quality of investigation.
Yes, the quality of the investigation. If they boggle that, that won't be...
Too bad.
There won't be anything to... There's little that those who will prosecute will do. They have to rely on the facts submitted to them.
Okay. I have Inebe Effiong. Thank you for joining us.
Okay. We want to have your perspective now that the DPP has approved the prosecution of Chidinma and actually freed some of the suspects earlier arrested. What will happen from now on? What should we expect to see from now on?
Thank you, Mr. Babajide Ayo and the rest of the crew. I have a problem with the manner this case has been handled by the Lagos State government and the police. You know, justice is rooted in confidence. If people don't have confidence in the criminal justice system, the outcome of a trial will always be questioned. Now, it is good that the DPP have come up with a legal advice to say that Chidinma should face trial. I believe that is consistent with public expectation, given what we know about this case. But my worry, and I said it as a trial lawyer, and I said it as a citizen, is that the police have made the job of the Lagos State government, in fact, to be specific, the job of the DPP and the Attorney General complicated. They have complicated the prosecution of this matter. And I find it a bit strange that the Honorable Attorney General of Lagos State and the DPP stood by and watched the police turn what is supposed to be a serious criminal investigation into a grievous crime, the murder of a citizen, into a drama. The way this case has been dramatized by the police, it calls to question the motive behind the entire investigation. This is somebody who we are told was murdered by a lady he had an affair with. Actually, that is not in dispute. She confessed, or allegedly confessed, having been paraded before the press, which is also questionable. And bear in mind that the Lagos State House of Assembly has now even gone further to pass a law to prohibit the parade of criminal suspects. And this case of Chidinma highlights the importance, the preeminence of this bill or this law that has been introduced by the Lagos State House of Assembly. If you have somebody confess to killing another, that confession in law is not supposed to be made before the press in what is called a confessional statement. And there is a procedure under the law, what we call the judge's rule. The judge's rule states the procedure under which the confession of a suspect is to be taken. The Evidence Act also regulates this. The Administration of Criminal Justice Law of Lagos State, also 2011, also regulates how confessional statements are to be taken. Namely, where a suspect has indicated to admit to an offense, to the commission of a crime, that suspect is supposed to be given a statement to write under caution. When that confessional statement is taken, it has to be in the presence of the suspect's legal practitioner or recorded by video in compliance with the law. I don't know which of this was done, but what we have seen is that the police brought out this girl, this young lady, treated her like some form of celebrity. I agree there's a constitutional presumption of innocence under Section 36, subsection 5 of the Constitution. But if you are going to give the public the confidence in what you are doing, why are you turning this to a drama? After she had allegedly confessed to the commission of the crime, I say allegedly because now we don't know what to believe. We later saw another interview where this lady, a suspect, came out looking very classy, treated like some form of celebrity, granting another press interview where she recanted, she resiled from the earlier confessional statement that she had made. And in the second interview, she then denied complicity in the matter. How is this important? It is important because at the point of trial, the Lagos State government will now have to prove convincingly, even if she had confessed, of course, because it is a capital offense, if she were even to plead guilty, the court will record it as not guilty for her. But when you have the police behaving in this manner, so uncivilized, so unprofessional, and the Lagos State government did not intervene to stop these assaults on the family of the victims and the public, it again worries some of us who are really interested in the reform of the criminal justice system. By and large, the position of the Director of Public Prosecution or the Attorney General, because the DPP is an officer in the office of the Attorney General, is merely exercise of what we lawyers call, or what is known in law as prosecutorial discretion, by saying that having reviewed the evidence, having seen the totality of the case of the prosecution, the prima facie case has been made against Chidinma, and no case has been made against the other suspects to warrant them putting them on trial. So that discretion, the Attorney General is entitled to it, and he has exercised it rightly or wrongly. It is therefore for us to wait and see the outcome of this trial. This is going to be an interesting trial, given the drama that I have highlighted, given the embarrassment that the police has brought to this case, has brought to the country. And you know another point I want to make.
Please,
and I hope the Attorney General is going to take note of this. We should demand an internal inquiry within the police to investigate the circumstances that led to Chidinma being treated the way she was treated. All of us know how police treat suspects. being given a VIP treatment. I'm not saying she should be tortured, no. But when you have somebody being given an interview, coming out looking so classy, that tells you that there is something the police has not disclosed to us. And those officers who were responsible, from the investigation police officer to the department that the homicide department, the OC homicide, to even the commissioner of police, should be made to explain their role in this very embarrassing display that Nigerians, witness.
Thank you. We could go on and on and on, and he has added the needed legal perspective to this argument.
Yes, thank you. We benefited from your insight, and we seem to agree with you.
Is this thing against Pastor Sulaiman when he was asking for the host of heaven, that he was going to subpoena the host of heaven, the angels that actually credited those accounts of the church members. He was saying, we are going to invite the angel as witnesses.
We will charge them for counterfeit.
Thank you, Nibi. Troublemaker. Thank you. And finally on the show today, for some, it's a brain drain. But for them, it's seeking a better future. A large number of Nigerian doctors trooped to a recruitment center by the Saudi Arabia in Abuja last week in what could lead to exodus of medical experts from the country. Many Nigerian doctors are already practicing outside our shores, while few ones left are also struggling to leave. Now, let's look at the situation in this report by TVC News' Femi Akonde.
A classic example of brain drain. These doctors are abandoning a failing healthcare system in search of better opportunities as the condition in this critical sector continues to deteriorate. The organizers of this medical recruitment exercise are now trying to contain the backlash caused by an earlier TV news report on the exodus of doctors to Saudi Arabia. This time they have prevented us from openly filming the exercise that is seen as an embarrassment to the government at a time resident doctors are on strike and the fragile health system is still grappling with the crippling effect of the COVID-19 pandemic.
What we are saying here is that the timing is wrong and that the numbers are not right for our country. So we'll be calling on the medical association. In fact, I had a discussion with the president yesterday. And we're also going to be talking to other experts to see how we resolve the impasse. It should not be something we do because we are on strike or we are angry.
The latest World Health Organization ranking measuring overall health system performance for 191 countries puts Nigeria at 187, while Saudi Arabia, seeking to recruit more Nigerian doctors, is ranked at 26. This year's federal budget for healthcare is 547 billion naira. That is about 7% of the budget's total of 13 trillion naira. This falls short of African governments' commitment in April 2001 to dedicate at least 15% of their annual budgets to the health sector in what is now known as the Abuja Declaration.
But this particular government has done much for doctors.
The federal government insists the brain drain in the health sector is unnecessary or even exaggerated, as the President Buhari administration's policies, plans and programs have specifically targeted improving healthcare delivery in the country.
I do not also, as a medical doctor, agree when people are talking about brain drain and blaming the government all the same. Are we not Nigerians? Where is the patriotism? What is the cost of training a medical doctor in the United States or in UK? We don't want to go into all those. So let us let the sleeping dog lie.
To let sleeping dogs lie may mean to do nothing to stop healthcare workers who have lost hope in the system from leaving. Last year, the Nigerian Medical Association reported that out of 75,000 doctors officially registered in Nigeria, more than 33,000 doctors have left the country, leaving just above 50% of that number to man the health institutions in the country. Presently, resident doctors are still slugging it out with the government over some unresolved industrial disputes. But it seems it is increasingly difficult to find a middle ground, and the exodus of more doctors is inevitable.
These are issues that our association have envisaged for a very long time, and we have been trying to halt it long before now. However, because of lack of cooperation from the government, people have decided that enough is enough, and they have opted to go to claims that they feel their welfare is better protected.
The federal government may also have so much to handle, especially with solving insecurity, creating jobs, and improving an economy badly hit by the outbreak of the COVID pandemic. But it seems doctors have lost patience and they want out of a bad situation before it gets worse. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
Judy, I don't know how long we are going to continue with this. I think this is not a new trend, but the number of doctors going abroad, it's just increasing, the ratio, the population. But since the early 80s, I've been hearing about this trend, going to London, going to Saudi Arabia to earn better pay. But right now, it's now becoming a kind of embarrassment that all our doctors, they want to leave Nigeria.
Nobody wants to stay. Nobody wants to stay.
Because look at that ratio. Out of 75,000 registered doctors, 35,000 or 33,000 left officially. Punch did a story yesterday. They were talking to people in London, people that are already there. They were saying they are collecting times 20 of whatever they were earning in Nigeria, and they've not unleashed all the packages that they are going to collect, be earning to them. So that means there's a big problem in this sector.
There is a very big problem. This last one, I was particularly drawn to take more than a passing interest in this last recruitment exercise because they were looking for consultants. They were looking for the best and the most experienced that we had. You know, young people graduating from medical school, doing youth service and writing exams for them to go and practice in the UK, in America, Canada, and the rest. It's not a new thing. It's not something that's novel. It's not surreal in any way. But consultants,
trying to get our best,
people with more than 30 years experience, were the people that they targeted this time. That was why even a girl said that the prof who trained her, and she graduated 11 years ago from medical college, the prof who trained her also came for that test. So you know how it is. For the person who trained you, left school 11 years ago, the person who trained you, both of you ended up writing the same test. Because there's the environment. The environment is toxic. People just don't want to stay. I've seen people come up with all kinds of things, persuasive words meant to encourage Nigerians that, look, there are people who are making money here. It's difficult for somebody to simply make it in our country when he's honest, he's hardworking. You must know people. The environment doesn't even encourage people to simply want to succeed on their own. You write a test, all of the tests now, recruitment into federal agencies now, these days, they won't even let you know that recruitment is going on. So that they can, it's their own people who can benefit. And in some cases, they will tell people to go and bring money. It's going on. So how can the ordinary person simply apply and expect to be employed? You see a situation in which only 300 vacancies are available and 3 million people will apply. How do you cope with that? So for doctors, we need doctors badly. We must do our best to keep them.
What happened in Abuja is an indication of what we have become. In this country, our health services used to be so good. This same Saudi Arabia that are recruiting our doctors, the king of Saudi Arabia came to UCH Ibadan for treatment in the First Republic. The king of Saudi Arabia came to UCH Ibadan for treatment. Now, things are so bad in our country because we don't get our values. Our problem in Nigeria is leadership. In America, a lot of nurses and doctors are Nigerians. It's okay, but the problem is that the environment is not good enough. These people are not well appreciated. When the resident doctors are on strike, and there was a negotiation, and the Minister of Labour saying there's no big deal if they travel, we have enough doctors. And the way they are recruiting our doctors, and the way doctors, even not to Saudi Arabia, those who are living, because what you need to do if you go to UK, Canada, you just to do exams. When you pass those exams, you get into the system. We may end up having only small doctor and doctor seat as the doctors are around. No, that's what we end up with. Doctors too. You end up with small doctor because if you don't value your doctors, people spend so many years to get trained as doctors, and to even pay them living wage is a problem.
I have on the line joining us is Tokunbo Titoju, is a health worker. Tokunbo, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Now, the picture we've been painting in the last 1 month, now we got that picture with what happened at Transcorp Hotel in Abuja, that recruitment exercise. So it was like a story when Babajide told me earlier, till I saw confirmation through reports, till I saw the media houses going there to report this trend.
Yes.
How would you respond? How would you respond to the test that your colleagues went to Sheraton Hotel in Abuja to write?
Yeah, they are simply looking for what is good for them. If someone has worked in Nigeria for 15, 20 years, like you said, and the person feels like this is time for me to move on, you can't blame the person. Can you blame a man in his 50s or 60s who decides to move to another country for a better life? No, you can't. These people are not children, they are not kids. They know what is good for them, and they've decided that, look, I have to move on. We can sit on the moral aspect of it and try to look at it from other angles. But it is not to blame them or to try to start a passion on them for taking decisions that will probably better their life. Engineers move out of Nigeria, tech experts move out of Nigeria. If now we don't have any way of keeping our doctors, we have to solve the problem. It's their right to move to any part of the world. I mean, to either practice or to earn better living or better wages.
This one is particularly worrisome because it's the very senior people in the health sector that they are targeting. The consultants, people who train you guys, they are the ones that they are targeting on a large scale. Now that's why it looks really worrisome
and embarrassing.
Yes, so because the Saudi Arabia knows that, I mean, their future outlook, you know, they've been investing so much in healthcare. They are investing massively in their health system. The Saudis always want to be the best. I mean, in the Middle East, they are competing with the likes of Qatar, Dubai, and all. And they know that they want to compete with the Europeans. And they know that to get to that point, they need specialists. They need good hands. And they've identified Nigeria as a potential place where they can conduct their recruitment. I mean, if they feel that Nigeria is the best place for them to recruit people, we can't really blame them. That means that they are seeing value that we are not seeing. So instead of looking at Saudi and wondering why they are trapping us as people, we have to look at ourselves and wonder why we can't see that value in those people. So they are looking at our senior colleagues and saying, look, I need this professor. This is what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to give you free housing. I'm going to give you tax rebate for so number of months. I'm going to give you paid leave. I'm going to give you free tickets back to Nigeria. You know, they are throwing everything at them.
Now,
and that's how countries develop.
Now, why are they targeting Nigeria? Is it that medical professionals are among the cheapest in the world, or what?
No, they are targeting Nigerians because they are seeing all across the globe that Nigerians have the best hands. Across the sub-Saharan region, even across Africa. So they've seen Nigerian doctors in the US, they've seen Nigerian doctors in the UK, they've seen them in Australia, they've seen them all over the world. And so they know that they can take their chance with these people. So, and the Nigerians are naturally hardworking. And Nigerians adapt easily. We have all the qualities that they need. So they will come here to face Nigeria. I mean, what other quality do you need in Nigeria to survive abroad and to work abroad that you can't find?
I mean,
you find this in anybody that can work in Nigeria, that, I mean, with 80% commitment, if you get 20% abroad, they are going to be a superstar. A lot of my friends are superstars abroad. So they know why they are coming to Nigeria. They won't go to other African countries. They know that Nigeria is the potential place for them to get what they need. So it is left for us now to look at this situation and find a way to stop it, not by force or by action. It is everything at sitting down with these people. Call them and tell them, what do you need? How can we stop this thing? You are our best hand. You are the future, you see the future. We can't allow you to go. What can we do?
Yeah.
Or we can't all just sit in Abuja in the ministry and assume that you can use the moral angle to take them. No.
As somebody in the sector, what advice will you give government? What can we do to be able to make working in Nigeria attractive to our doctors?
So the government needs to declare an emergency in the healthcare sector now, because we are facing tough times. And if you look at France, for example, you look at the US, because they take healthcare issues very, very serious. In France, I mean, you can't touch their health insurance system, you can't touch their public health system. In fact, as a president, one of the questions that voters will ask me is what we have for them in terms of healthcare development. In the US, we saw how Obamacare became, almost the biggest topic of discussion during Trump and Obama's election. I mean, so we have to just sit down and declare an emergency. It's not just about food inflation, it's not about cost of petrol, it's not about all those things. Healthcare is important. It's the leading cause of just one disease away from poverty, from being bankrupt. So we have to sit down and call all the stakeholders, government at all levels, start from your local government, from the PhDs. We have lots of PhDs, over 10,000 PhDs.
Okay. Tokuba, we want to thank you. Tokuba, for your contribution. Now, the reality is that somebody should be in government and should try to discourage this move.
Yes.
That please don't go. Nigeria is a fatherland. How do you help us? And there should be a kind of attitudinal change on part of government.
We are not funding the sector sufficiently. We must fund the sector better. It is now clear that our training institutions, our medical training institutions, are very good. Otherwise, these guys won't be useful where they are. They go there, they write the exams, they excel. So the training, we have good training institutions there. Now what is left? What is left is, let's fund the sector better. Let's treat the doctors as our heroes. You've spoken to me a number of times how they treat these people in the UK, the NHS people. We don't treat our doctors like that. We don't even see them as heroes. Look, during the COVID, many of them lost their lives simply trying to save other people's lives. Yet you are paying people 5,000 hazard allowance. Hazard allowance, you have been paying them since 1991.
19 months.
He doesn't even think that it's such a bad thing to hold doctors up to 11 months or 19 months. At this age, you are paying hazard allowance of 5,000. You said you were going to move it to 33% of their basic salary, and you refuse to implement.
So that's the key. We have to work on our values. To be a doctor, the doctors used to be well respected in the society. Even in the university, to get trained as a doctor, you spend more years for you to be trained as a medical doctor. But it will now be frustrating If you come out after a long training and people in government thinks that it's not what they are white to pay you well, you know, it is every time that they will owe you salaries, and the Minister of Labour will defend it as if it's not a big deal. That
say
doctors,
we have more than enough.
That's what I'm saying, that doctors are owed money. So that when things like that happen, you will see your doctors, both consultants and young doctors, moving abroad for better life. But we have to change our values. We have to change the way we train people. We have to change when government is making provisions, areas where they should put the budget into. We have to work on all that. Because part of our problem is that we have to change our values. We have to change that. A country that does not care about the best student in a university, but gives 90 million to somebody that's in Big Brother, you know, you can't get things done properly. You can't get things done properly like that.
Well, we have to leave it there, and that's where we drop anchor onto this program on Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Mayor Akipolu, thank you for your contribution. Thank you for that contribution. And Jide, CR7 is in Manu now.
Yes,
we forgot to mention that earlier.
It's a thing of joy.
I saw you celebrate.
No, we have celebrated it.
I can see that he's happy.
Yes.
CR7, we add value to Manu, but they won't win the league.
Yes. Well, we don't have to win the league. We don't have to win the league. During Arsene Wenger's time, coming fourth and being the Champions League was seen as even more important than winning the league. So we don't have to win the league.
Not the kind of resources. Not the kind of resources that you have in Man U.
We have Ororo now. And we expect him to deliver. It's as simple. He's a serial winner. He has a work ethic that no other footballer in the world has.
Correct.
Even as a young boy, as an 18-year-old, Ferguson used to chase him away from training ground. After he will get to training before anybody, and he will be the last to leave.
You have to give that to him.
Yes. So the talent that I didn't have, the talent that I didn't have, he made up for it with hard work, physical training.
That's the difference between him and Messi. Messi is talent.
Yes, Messi is talent.
He
built himself to that level. And many people don't know that he's also the #1 sports person when it comes to humanitarian work. Ronaldo refused to do any tattoo on his body because he regularly donates blood to people. Many people don't know about his humanitarian work, but he's the #1 in the world. Before you start talking about Roman Reigns, John Cena, and the rest of them.
And the richest.
Yes. So it's a thing of joy.
It will add value to Man U. Congratulations, Man U supporters. Congratulations. But that will not make you win.
And I'm hoping, just as I promised my younger brother Ayetoko to Akindele, I will not abuse the Arsenal. I will not post negative stuff about Arsenal, and I'm praying for Arsenal that they should survive this storm.
Thank you.
If Arsenal supporters now continue to abuse my club, well, when their way, I'm not bothered. But I will not.
No, that's the truth now. That's the truth.
All right,
we're together.
And that's our package today. Join us tomorrow for a regular episode of Journalist Hangout by 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode 11:30 p.m. tonight. Well, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. See you tomorrow by 5 p.m. God bless Nigeria.